Shalom Aleichem, and welcome back everyone as we are preparing this week another double header, Parshat Matot and Matot-Masei. As Hashem will give us the koach to look at a few ideas that come out from the parasha and how we can apply these ideas, these secrets and lessons to our daily lives. We have in the parasha, in Perek Lamed Aleph, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives Moshe Rabbeinu an instruction. Medaber Hashem el Moshe Lemor, Nekom nikmat b'nei Yisrael me'et hamidyanim. Hashem says to Moshe, you have to take revenge against the Midyanim. We have to go to war. And they're going to go to war. And later it says, Vayishlach otam Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu sent the Israeli army, the Jewish army, to go fight. The Midrash picks up on this pasuk, Vayishlach otam Moshe. And the Midrash Rabbah, read it to you as follows. It says as follows. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe. Hashem says to Moshe, Nekom nikmat. Go take revenge. Who is he talking to? He's talking to Moshe. Ata ba'atzmecha. You yourself go and take revenge. So Hashem says, Nekom nikmat b'nei Yisrael me'et hamidyanim. He's talking to Moshe. Vehu mishalech et echem. And Moshe Rabbeinu goes and sends other people. Hashem tells Moshe, go take revenge. And Moshe goes, okay, you go do it. You remember, it's good. Okay. So, Eila, Mifnei shenitgadel be'eretz Midyan, because Moshe Rabbeinu grew up in Midyan, Amar, he said, Eino bedin sha'ani mitzer lemi sha'asa bitova. I cannot make pain and suffering for those who were good to me. Hamashal Omer, the famous mashal, they say, Bor sheshatita mimenu al tizrok bo even. The bore, the well that you drank from, you don't throw a stone inside. So the Dat Hazekini and Balei Tosfot, they say, hold on. What's the calculation here? These Midyanim made a plan with Bil'am to make the Jews sin, which led to the death of 24,000 Jews. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, no, I still can't attack them. The calculation doesn't add up. They're bad. They caused the 24,000 Jews should die. So how come Moshe Rabbeinu says, I have a karata to'ov, I cannot fight against the Midyanim? So explains the Dat Hazekinim, the Balei Tosfot, that what? You learn from here, Hakarat HaTov is not about the other guy, but it's about you. You have to feel so much Hakarat Tov, not to look what the other guy is doing and how do I give it back to them, but you yourself have to have so much Hakarat Tov, so much thankfulness for the good that's been done to me, that you can't even come to dislike this guy no matter what he does. Because it's not based on what they're doing, they deserve your niceness or not, but rather you have to feel a sense of gratitude for what was done to you no matter what they're doing. That is the lesson here. The idea is that you have the choice to choose how you want to feel. It's not about how the other guy is acting. Hakarat HaTov is not about how the other guy is acting now. I still have to be nice to him. I still have to have thanks for him. Rather, it's a thought process and a feeling inside how you should feel about things that were done to you no matter when. Right? And we said the story last time when we brought this, I believe I said this last year, Friday night. I said the story that there were twin brothers. Identical. Everything, they looked exactly the same. Except for one, difference. One boy was a happy-go-lucky. Everything was okay for him. Everything was all right. Everything was he was always happy, always very good. And the other boy, sad, upset, depressed. No matter what you tried, it was always bad. So they went to some doctors trying to figure out what to do. Why is these two twin brothers so different? So there was one psychologist that said, you know what, I want to make an experiment. Let's see. They asked the parents for permission to make an experiment. And so they did. They took the boy who was always unhappy and they brought him into a room. And in that room, it was stocked with every toy, every type of new item, every new gadget, all the types of candies and stuff that kids like, and they put a whole room full of it. And they brought him inside the room, and the minute he got in there, he started complaining. Why they have it like this? Why is this too much package? Why this one doesn't come out of here? Why this like that? I want the other one. I want this or that. And just complaining. He's got everything possible that he ever wants. Okay. They then take the second boy and they bring him into another room. And this room, the minute you open the door, it smells so bad. And he comes inside and he sees there's horse manure. Number 2 from the horse all over the room. And they leave this kid in there for a few minutes. And they come back and they see him smiling. And he's all dirty in manure. And he's so happy. They say, what was so happy? What was so exciting in there? And he says, listen, if there's horse manure there, there's a horse or a pony. And I was looking for the horse or the pony. Right? He's in a room full of manure. And yet, he has a thought that he's going to find a horse or a pony. See, the idea is, you choose how you feel. Moshe Rabbeinu chose to feel Hakarat HaTov no matter what. No matter what's going on, no matter where he's in, he's feeling to have gratitude and thanks to the Minyanim. And this idea applies to everything in life. Because you can choose to be thankful to those around you. You can choose to be thankful to your spouse, to your children, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Or you can walk around and choose to be grumpy and upset. You can choose to make your day. You know, there's a book out there that kids read. I don't know if you ever saw this book, but it's called Power to Choose. Right? This kid Danny, and the story can change. You choose in the story, you get to choose to do something right or something wrong. And you'll see as your day goes on. Like, it's a nice storybook, but that's the idea. You really have the power to choose how to feel, how to think, and how to live life. And that is one of the lessons of the Balei Tosfot that the Zikanim teach us on this pasuk. Now, as we continue reading over here about Moshe Rabbeinu preparing them for the war, it says, Elef l'mateh, l'chol matot Yisrael tishlechu l'tzava. So you're going to send 1,000 soldiers. What does that mean? Elef l'mateh. Does that mean just 1,000 soldiers? Or does that mean 1,000 and 1,000? No? 2,000. So the Yalkut Shimoni says, possibly even 3. Let's see. So says the Yalkut Shimoni, Yeshomrim Shnei Alafim. Really, it was 2,000 Mikol Shevet Shevet Shalach. The Yeshomrim Shiloshet Alafim. There was actually 3,000. They sent. What were they doing?
1,000 fighting, 1,000 praying.
Very good.
1,000 in the kitchen. 1,000 in the kitchen.
1,000. Shem Asar Elav Chalutzei Tzava. 12,000, so 1,000 Mishevet, they were in the soldiers. Shem Asar Elav Shehu Mishamerim Kilehem, that they were watching the utensils. They were the ones watching everything. Ushneim Asar Elav Litfila, and 12,000, 1,000 from Mishevet, just to daven. Understand what that means? That means that when we go out to war, it's not just a soldier in the IDF uniform. It is the tefillah behind that gets us the victory. there was 1,000 people, their job was just to daven. And the Mefarshim ask, if there was 1,000 people just to daven, why are we sending them to the battlefront? Why can't they daven home? Why can't they daven in their city? Why do we have to send them? Why do we have to send them with the other soldiers to the front where the war is being fought?
That's what the experience.
No, say better, not just experience.
See in their life what their brothers going through.
That's right. Because your tefillah takes on a whole different feeling when you're in it or if you're not in it. You know, your tefillah is supposed to be the avodah shehalev, the service of the heart. What's the heart? Service of the heart. What does that mean? Tefillah is supposed to be avodah shehalev. So Gemara says, lev, the heart, is the seat of emotion. Prayer has to be emotional. That's why, by us the Faradim, we've always had songs incorporated to our tefillah. Not just to sing or waste time, but rather, it's supposed to get the guy's heart open. That's why we say Patah Eliyahu before we start tefillah. It says there, Patah Eliyahu opens our heart to emotions to pray. You have to feel it. And how do you feel it? By getting yourself there to the battlefront. You have to see stuff. You have to be there. That's why we sent those 1,000 there. I will tell you. Everybody knows the Panovich Rav. The Panovich Rav, who established the Panovich Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, he became, when he was already older, he became a student of the Hafetz Chaim. He was already the Panovich Rav. And he started coming and spending a lot of time with the Hafetz Chaim. So people asked him why. The Panovich Rav, you're going to the Hafetz Chaim all the time. Why? He's spending time there. Rabbi Chanan Wasserman also did that. He would spend his time in front of the Hafetz Chaim, even though he was Rosh Hashiva in Barnovich. Right? So they asked the Panovich Rav why. He said, let me tell you. One time I went to consult the Hafetz Chaim about something. I come there. His wife opens the door. She says, I can come in. I'm waiting. And she said, the Hafetz Chaim is in the other room. And while I'm there, I'm hearing the Hafetz Chaim crying. Like he's in pain. So I tell his wife, I say to the Rebbe, is everything okay? Can I help? What needs to be done? And she says, no, there's someone in the community. She's in labor. And she's having a tough time in labor. And the Hafetz Chaim just heard about it. So he's davening for her. He was crying as if he was in pain, davening for someone, quote unquote, a random person. The feeling, the hergish of feeling, this is my brother, this is my sister, that I need to daven, not just daven like, some of us daven, just, and it's over, but a feeling to the davening. There was here in the Eitz Chaim, he says an amazing story. He says here that there was a young guy got married, and he moved to Eretz Yisrael, and he was learning yeshiva there, and his wife was there, and they're from America. And his wife, a month or two after they moved, she was crying at home. She says, what happened? She says, I need to go back to America. I don't feel that this is for me. I'm still not used to the culture. I'm still not used to the people. It's difficult. And it is difficult to move from one country to the other. It doesn't make a difference. It's difficult. And he wanted to learn yeshiva. So he came sad one day to the yeshiva, and his Rosh Yeshiva said, what's going on? So he said, my wife wants to go back. She's crying. So Rosh Yeshiva says, you know what? You'll daven for her that she'll be happy. I'll daven for her, she'll be happy. But Hashem will help. And within a few months, she stopped complaining. They're already living in Eretz Yisrael 10 plus years. And then one day, he already left the yeshiva, he went to a different yeshiva, and one day he meets his Rosh Yeshiva again. So the Rosh Yeshiva says, how's everything? He says, let me ask you, how is your wife? Is she enjoying Eretz Yisrael? Is she happy now? Can I stop davening for her to be happy? So he says, I didn't know you were still davening for her, but Baruch Hashem, she's fine. She's great. You don't have to daven anymore for her. We're good. She says, oh, it's gewaltig. It's amazing. They finish small talk and they go. This young guy says, I came home that night and my wife is crying. I say, why are you crying? She says, I gotta go back to America. It just all is not for me. He says, he has a good husband. He sat there, he listened to her and everything. And as soon as it was over, he got up, he got to the telephone, he called Rosh Yeshiva and said, Rosh Yeshiva, you have to daven again. But that's the idea. Tefillah works. Prayer works. Emotional prayer works. You have to really be there. That's why they say the gates of crying is not closed. Why? Because gates of crying is gates of emotion. You don't just cry by pricking yourself with something. You know, we're not actors. Rather, we cry from emotion, right? That leads for tefillah to get into heaven. And those are the tefillot that are answered. One more interesting story he brings over here. There was a man who unfortunately married for a number of years and had no children. And he tried every segula, everyone gave him a different book and a different thing and a different etzah, what to do. He tried everything. And he davened in his years and years and no answer. And one day, in his mind, he decided, that's it, Zehu. I'm done praying. I tried, it's over. He comes to Tefillah Shaharit in the morning after the night he decided no more praying. He's in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and all of a sudden, 6 o'clock in the morning, the early davening, a baby starts to cry. In the shul. While he's in the middle of Shemona Esrei. So he stops his Shemona Esrei, and he turns his, and he kind of speaks to Hashem, and he says, Hashem, I said I'm not going to daven for the baby, and the day I decided I'm stopping down for the baby, that's the day a baby, 6 o'clock in the morning, is crying in shul. He says, I guess Hashem, you want me to daven once more. So he starts to daven again for a baby. The Maaseh goes on that exactly a year from that day that he davened in the shul and that baby cried, it was zocheh to his own baby. Why was that baby in shul? Why was that baby in shul? Postscript. Why was that baby in shul? What really happened? That baby was very colicky and didn't sleep all night. And finally, this man's wife finally fell asleep early in the morning, and the baby again woke up. So the father decided, I'm not going to leave the baby at home when she's going to have to wake up again. I'm going to shul anyway. So he took his little baby to shul. And lo and behold, because of that baby crying, so sometimes if babies are in shul crying, you don't have to get all upset. Hey, maybe someone's tefillah now will be answered. But this is it, Rabotai, that the tefillah really makes a difference. That's why 1,000 soldiers from every shevet was just for tefillah, just for prayer. One last story about prayer, and then we'll move on to another lesson. There was a girl. She was a Bali Tshuva, and there was a night of her wedding. The night of her wedding, her mother is not found amongst the ceremonies. People went to look for her. And they find her mother crying. So they say to her mother, why are you crying? It's your daughter's wedding. She says, listen, I'm a secular Jew. I've been all my life. And she is my third child to become Haredi and to marry religious people. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. So the people there, the Rabbanim there was like, listen, if 3 of your children became Bali Tshuva, what zechut do you have? What have you ever done? Some special zechut that they became more religious and they're establishing a true house of Israel. So she said, listen, I really didn't do anything. I said, there must be something. She says, you know what? It was many, many years ago. I went to a seminar and they were trying to make people religious. And they handed out, at the end of this thing, they handed out a little card to pray for children, to have good children. And I've been saying this prayer every single day. So the Rabbanim, they said, do you have that card? She said, sure, I always carry it on me. I always make sure to say it every single day. They take out the card. It's the Tfilat Hashla. It's the Tfilat Hashla. She's been davening Tfilat Hashla every single day, not knowing what it even says. But she got all her children to become religious. Because prayer works. Prayer works. It needs to be done. As Hashem, if we do that, we'll be zachet to many things. Let's move on to our last and final lesson from this week's Parshat. And also, just to do it, you just see that we're just dealing with really one parak, and there's so much going on here in this parak. The warriors are coming back. Moshe Rabbeinu is coming out to greet them. And Moshe Rabbeinu sees that they have the woman captives. And the Pasuk tells us that what happened? Vayiksof Moshe. And what happened? Moshe was angry. And Moshe said, Hahiyitem kol nekeva? Did you leave all the females alive? The whole thing with the Midianim, why we went to war, is because the females caused that the males, jail Jews, to sin, and that led to 24,000. So that was the reason why we went. Why did you leave them all alive? And Moshe Rabbeinu got angry. And what we see right after, the Torah brings us the halachot about tfilat kelim and hechsher kelim, cleaning of kashering utensils and tfilat kelim. And usually, who gives the halachot in the Torah? Usually, it's Moshe Rabbeinu. And all of a sudden, when it comes to these halachot, it says Vayomer Elazar HaKohen. Elazar HaKohen says these halachot. Ach et hazohav, et hakosev, et hanechosh, et habarza, et havadil, et haoferet, kol davar sheyavo b'eish, ta'avir b'eish. And we learn all the halachot, tfilat kelim, and the Masechta Avodah Zarah, all about how to do tfilat kelim. Why Elazar? Why Elazar is the one saying it? So says Rashi, Moshe came and he became angry, so he forgot these halachot. Because Moshe Rabbeinu got angry, he forgot these halachot. You know, this is Chaim Shmulevitz. He says, hold on. Why did Moshe become angry? Moshe had a valid reason to become angry. There was something to become angry for. Moshe Rabbeinu was not just stopped getting angry. Their whole mission was to punish them for what they did, and they didn't punish them. So Moshe Rabbeinu was valid. So Chaim Shmulevitz says that has nothing to do with the validity of being angry. The fact is that if you're angry, that's already counterproductive. That already affects you. Even if your anger is righteous, and even if your anger is correct, anger itself is harmful. Although Moshe's anger was totally justified, he forgot the laws. It's not a punishment for the wrongful use of anger, but rather the nature of anger itself. Chashulaz also talk about this, about how you get people upset, that causes people right away to have problems. There's the same idea that it's the nature itself of anger that causes one to lose his wisdom. Now, anger is an emotion, and it's a natural human emotion that people have, and everyone's born with it. To a degree, some people less, some people more, but it's there. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's okay, right? We just saw that anger is, even if righteous anger, is harmful. A person has to work on his anger. There's a story told about a certain tzaddik, extremely poor. They were living off, tzedakah and scraps and this and that. And one day became Erev Sukkot, and he doesn't have no etrog, no lulav, nothing. And he's walking in the marketplace and he finds the most nicest etrog, but it costs a fortune. But he wants to get it for Sukkot. He has one possession on him that's worth a lot of money. A tefillin that he got in Yerusha, that he inherited his tefillin, and that tefillin was a very expensive pair of tefillin. So now he's thinking, what should I do? Over Sukkot, I'm not going to put on tefillin, but I need an etrog. The mitzvah that's right now is the mitzvah I have to be worried about. So he decided, you know what? I'll sell my tefillin and I'll buy the etrog. He sold his tefillin. He bought the etrog. He comes home all happy. He turns to his Rebbitzin and he tells his Rebbitzin, look at the beautiful etrog that I got. And she says, how much did it cost? He says this huge amount of money. And she says, where'd you get that money from? And he says, I sold the tefillin. I made a heshbon and I said, etrog more important right now. She says, you sold our most beautiful pair of tefillin? And you didn't save any money for food for the holiday? How are we going to make Yom Tov? We don't have any food. What am I going to do with this etrog? And she grabs the etrog and she throws it to the ground. Makes it completely pasul. Invalid. You can't use it. Became now worse than a lemon. The tzaddik looked at the etrog, which was so beautiful. He sold his tefillin for it, lying broken on the ground. How did he react? He can't control himself, but he says to himself, my tefillin, I no longer have. My etrog, I no longer have. Should I now also get the zechut of the avera of ka'as instead of those? No. Now the mitzvah is not to get angry. So I'm not going to get angry. And he was able to withhold himself. It's not an easy feat. It's not. But it's doable. You have to work on it. There was a Rebbe. He was a little bit late one day for yeshiva. He came late into the classroom. He comes in, and one of his students takes his watch and stuffs it in the Rebbe's face. And the Rebbe was angry. He's already sitting in traffic. This happened, that happened. It was a bad day, bad start to the day. And this kid puts the watch in his face. The Rebbe held himself back. And afterwards, he didn't get angry. He kept his cool, started the lesson. And during recess, he calls the kid over. And he says to the kid, what was that about? When I came in, the kid says, yesterday my dad got me a new watch. And I was waiting for Rebbe to come so I should show Rebbe my new watch. And so I showed you my watch when you walked in because I was so excited to show it to you. And the Rebbe says, you see, if I would have blown up, which I thought he was telling me I'm late, what would have happened? What would have happened? And it's not just a story here. We'll tell you, so many times we blow up and then we realize that we blew up for no reason. That it was something else. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like this. It wasn't like that. I think our job is to learn that there's a time to get angry. There is. But our Chacham tells you when you get angry, righteous anger, it should only be superficial. Just showing it and not feeling it. Because it's a bad midah and it affects us. We have to work on it. As Hashem should give us that. We know that during these days of the 3 weeks, it tells us, halacha tells us, you can't hit anyone because you don't know the danger of your hit, how much it can go further and stuff. We have to be very careful. This is the time to control ourselves. Hashem, if we do that, because Baruch Hu, let us have the Gula Shlema. Shabbat Shalom. Just to quickly review the 3 lessons. Lesson number 1 was that we decide to make Hakarat Tov or not, how we feel and how we choose, the power to choose. Second lesson was never stop praying. Prayer works. It's there. It's the only thing that works. That's the guarantee. And number 3, of controlling anger. Shabbat Shalom Lekulam.